Today is Tuesday.
Yes,
it is Tuesday. This is Wayne Goldsboro Television on Tuesday, May 12th, 2015. Thank you for being with us. Well, I'm Wayne Alley, and who are you?
I'm Kim Beston. Thank you for being with us this morning. We have lots to cover and talk about. Exciting things happening this weekend in Goldsboro and Wayne County.
Tell you what, it's a full week.
Yes, it is.
A lot going on, as always, in the spring.
That's
things
right.
happening. I want to go ahead and get birthdays out of the way. I'll mention very quickly a couple of them. Millie Perkins, actress, has been around a long time. Millie Perkins, born this day in 1938. She did The Diary of Anne Frank years ago when she was just a little girl. But Diary of Anne Frank, she was in the movie Wall Street, and she was Rebecca Kaplan on The Young and the Restless back in '06, years ago. Millie Perkins. Birthday today for one of my favorite people. I interviewed this lady a long time ago, several years. In fact, 3 or 4 times I talked to her. And she's one of the nicest people to come out of Hollywood. She's an actress. She had a daytime show. She and another person, Linda Dano. I don't know if you remember who she is.
Sounds familiar.
Linda Dano. She was Felicia Gallant on Another World. She was Ray Cummings on All My Children and on General Hospital. But she's one of the sweetest ladies you've ever talked to. Very nice. Just so down to earth.
Right.
She's from the northeast, somewhere up around Massachusetts, Connecticut, somewhere like that. And just the nicest person. Anyway, she's having a birthday. Happy and everything. Bruce Boxleitner celebrating today. Ving Rhames is doing commercials on TV for a security company. But he's an actor who's Attorney General Hatcher on The District. Doug McPhee in Gravity. And Dr. Jorge Villanueva in the TV show Monday Mornings. All right. Also have a birthday today for Emilio Estevez. Celebrating a birthday, also Estevez for St. Elmo's Fire and Young Guns and a bunch of other stuff. He's a good guy. A birthday for Vanessa Williams, that lovely former Miss America, is a singer and an extremely lovely girl and very talented actress. Renee on Desperate Housewives. Olivia on Park Avenue, 666 Park Avenue. Stephen Baldwin having a birthday today. He is in tons of movies and TV.
Yes, he is.
Kim Field, and I like Stephen Baldwin a lot. I don't like his brother, but that's my opinion. But anyway, Stephen Baldwin, a great guy. Kim Fields is having a birthday. That lovely young lady was Tootie.
I remember.
On Different Strokes and Facts of Life.
That's right.
She also was on Living Single. She's having a birthday today. She is 46. Yeah, she's 46. Hard to believe.
Wow.
All right, Samantha Mathis was Melinda Prescott on Grey's Anatomy and Dr. Alice Calvert on Under the Dome. Jamie Luner is an actress in Growing Pains. She was Kara in Growing Pains, Peyton on Savannah, Lexi on Melrose Place, and Liza Colby on All My Children. She's having a birthday today. She's 44.
Happy birthday.
Happy and all that stuff. Yeah.
That's
all
right.
Right, now getting to the business at hand.
That's right. Today, this morning, actually this afternoon, 5:30 till 7.
Morning or afternoon?
It's afternoon, 5:30 to 7. Come join the Member-to-Member Business Expo. It'll be taking place at Herman Park Center from 5:30 until 7 this afternoon. Come and walk around, get to know the local businesses that are being showcased. They'll tell you about your business, what they offer, what services, what the cost is. You can find out a lot more about what's happening right here in your community by attending the Business Expo today. Herman Park, 5:30 to 7. Won't cost you a thing to walk in the door.
It doesn't cost you anything?
Doesn't cost a thing.
It's
free admission.
And it's open to everybody?
Open to everybody to come and check it out.
You really need to go to this because it's interesting, and you wouldn't, like you said, you wouldn't believe some of the businesses we have right here in Wayne County that offer services.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
Well, Friday night there's Relay for Life happening.
Yes.
Where's that taking place?
That's at the Wayne Regional Agricultural Fairgrounds, beginning at 4 p.m.
That's right.
Relay for Life.
Then on Saturday and Sunday, the big Wings Over Wayne Open House and Air Show right here at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base.
Gates open at 8 o'clock, and for those who need to be shuttled onto the flight line, you can. There'll be shuttle buses available for you. Parking is as long as you drive into the gate and follow directions, and they will show you where to drive, where to park. It's not confusing at all. Very easy as long as you do what they say. And take your time, and don't get in a hurry.
That's right.
It'll be a piece of cake. All right, piece of cake. Anyway, we'll give you today's and tomorrow's, we'll give you Saturday and Sunday's schedule when we come back here right after our interview. Is that time for that?
That's right, stay with us.
Today we're at the Veterans Memorial Park across from the courthouse at the corner of William and Walnut Street, and we're here with Jessica Strickland, who is our favorite Wayne County horticulture agent.
Yes.
Yes, how you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking with us.
Yes, you're
What
welcome.
an absolutely beautiful day this is.
It is. We're finally getting some spring weather. It's slow to get going. We're still getting having some cool nights and so forth, so it's slow going for everything to get going. We're still kind of waiting, but it's nice to at least have some warmer weather.
You, on average, as I recall, the last day of the fear of frost is like April 15th, tax
It is.
day.
Yeah, usually you think April 15th is the day that you can stop worrying about frost.
Right.
Doesn't mean that we could have a late frost, but on average, that tends to be the date that most people focus on.
Chances are it's not going to happen.
Yeah, chances are it's not going to happen.
Now we're in May.
Yes.
And here we go. And here at the Veterans Memorial Park, who landscapes this? Do you have any idea? I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure.
I think the Master Gardeners does part of it.
Our Master Gardener volunteers cover the color bed right in the front of the sign on the corner. They're provided plants and kind of an idea of a color scheme, and they switch them out twice a year with the summer flowers, and then in the fall usually pansies to get through the winter.
And I suppose the city has something to do with part of this.
They might,
yes. But the Veterans Coalition also does a lot of work out here as well.
That's correct.
And whomever it may be who is doing the landscaping on this particular property, they're doing a fantastic job.
They are. It really is a really great, fantastic garden and area. And if you've not been here, it's really a nice area to come sit and relax. And it's a very nice place.
If you work downtown or near the downtown area, you can come here and have a lunch and kind of kick back and relax. And it's just a very nice place.
It is.
It is. All right, now what are we talking about today?
Well, this was a garden that has great examples of good landscape practices. And so wanted to focus on picking out and showing some of those really good landscape practices that you could even consider putting into your own landscape, incorporating into it.
I always said, if you want to really do a good job and make your lawn or your garden look good, go find one that really looks good and then do what they do.
That is, if you're looking at what do I do with my landscape or what kind of plants do I want, go out and just take a look around and make notes. And now we all have phones that we can take pictures and take pictures of the plant names or tags and keep track of what we like, what we're interested in. So then when we really start planning and looking into it, then we have some ideas to start with.
All right. So find something you like. We're going to look around here and we're going to find things we like, and you're going to point them out to us, and we'll see what we can, how we can do that at home. Okay.
Yes, that'll work.
All right. Jessica, we're in a part of the landscape here at the Veterans Memorial that is very interesting. Now, tell me about this grass here. This turf.
Well, as far as the turf or grass, a lot of people usually use turf or grass just to fill in areas. And this is a great example of how to incorporate it and really help it enhance the design of your landscape and really play off of the landscape beds instead of just using it as a filler. And a lot of people just fill it in any empty space with grass and that's it. Yeah. So there's a great example here where they have beds that come out, and if you notice they're curved, there's some curves in them.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yes. Instead of just straight lines, really adding some curves, what it does, it breaks up some of the corners and some of those straight rigid lines, especially when it's around your house, because your house, of course, is going to be straight lines and corners. It helps to soften those edges.
Right.
And the grass, you can see, helps you follow that curve even better. And that's something easy you can do. Some people talk about they struggle with the edging part. You can add curbing or rocks or something, but sometimes you're going to deal with your grass, especially Bermuda, probably trying to grow into your flower beds. But using edgers, there's equipment that's edgers that you can use, but you do have to kind of keep up with the edging. To create the curves, there's the big thing you want to keep in mind if you're going to create some beds with some curves in them is to make it where it's friendly with your lawnmower. If you make really sharp curves, then your lawnmower's going through, you can't cut those corners, and you're going to have spots that you didn't get mowed as well.
You have to go back with scissors.
So I tell people, if you're starting to plan it out, kind of plan out and use some spray paint or something and spray paint where you think the curves will work, and then run your lawnmower over it and see if it works. See if it's easy to maneuver the mower around those curves.
So don't worry about using spray paint. You're going to dig that up anyway, right?
That's right. Yeah, and
Okay.
spray paint's not going to stay on there long.
No,
you know?
no, it
So,
won't.
and if you're trying to figure out how to do curves, you can try to just eye it and see. I've heard of some people getting like a water hose or something and kind of just moving it around till they get it to where they like it. If you're taking out a lot of grass to put in beds, you might have to look into maybe renting a sod cutter if you're doing it on your own, or hire it done. Because that's a big job, especially if you got a lot of grass you're going to take out for landscape beds. You'd have to consider some way to get that sod out.
That is not easy
It's not. It's
to
a
get
very,
that sod out.
That's a very hard job.
Backbreaking.
Yes, very much so.
is.
So it might be something you choose, like, well, I'll either rent a sod cutter or I'll hire somebody to come and do that part for me.
Okay.
And and it's something too. Some people enjoy having their own gardens and landscapes and creating it. Other people want it, but they don't want to have to deal with all the work that goes into it. And we have a lot of landscapers in the area and so forth, companies that can do that for you, whether it's installing or maintenance. There's a lot of possibilities there.
Okay. Otherwise, you can do it yourself and have fun.
That's right.
Or
yes.
do it yourself and be miserable.
Yeah, that's true. And it's not something that you can completely do overnight if you're doing it on your own. It takes time. So a lot of times break it up in stages. Do the areas that are going to be seen from the road or that are the most publicly viewed areas first. And then pick, spots, and every year or so do a little more.
That's a good
so
idea.
sometimes it takes some time. It's not an overnight easy job. It takes some work, but people that garden and enjoy gardening, they enjoy that.
You can't do it all in one day, and you shouldn't do it all in one day.
That's right. Yes.
Even if you could do it all in one day, then what are you going to do the rest of the year?
There you go.
Hey. All right, let's move on to something else.
Okay, one thing we can talk about is mulching. Sometimes we have trees and we have the grass go right up to the trees.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, it does.
some people will find that the grass doesn't grow well under trees. And what happens is you have the roots from the grass and the roots from the tree competing for water, moisture, nutrients in the soil. And a lot of times it is better just to simply mulch around the beds. You're not going to find a type of grass that handles heavy shade. So if the tree is putting out a lot of heavy shade, you're going to struggle to get any grass to grow close to that tree.
Okay, so what kind of mulch is best, if there is such a thing?
Yeah, it's going to come down to
around trees.
It's going to come down to personal preference. A lot of people look at organic mulches, shredded pine bark, pine straw, those types of mulches, because it breaks down and adds a little bit of organic matter into your soil over time. And you have to replenish it every so often, every year at least, or you might get by with a couple years, but usually most people replace it every year.
A few years ago, the red mulch was very popular.
Yes,
You don't see that much anymore. It's still very pretty.
There's some that they're dyed, they have color in them. Some people would rather just have the natural look of, the shredded pine bark. You can get pine nuggets. Those little nuggets tend to float though when it rains.
They do, yeah.
So there's some pluses and minuses to all. And pine straw, if it's real windy, it tends to blow out of your beds. There are inorganic mulches that would be like the rocks or lava rocks or some kind of, even saw there for a while they had the pieces of rubber that were from recycled tires. They were using in playgrounds. And those you don't have to replace as often. They're more permanent. But for example, rocks, if it gets out of the bed and it can get in your lawnmower and some things like that.
Big problem. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So how, when you're mulching around, let's say, shrubs and bushes and plants and that sort of thing, how close do you get? Do you get right up to the base of the shrub?
A lot of people want to what we call volcano mulching, is they want to pile it up way up against the trunk of the tree. And what's going to happen is that space where it's piled up against the trunk is going to build up moisture, and you're going to have problems with pests. That's a great place for pests to come in. And it's a great place too that some plants, they start developing roots in that area. And you got roots that are growing into the mulch. So then when we have cold temperatures or really dry temperatures, those roots are going to dry out first, or they're going to get cold, have cold damage first.
That could damage the tree?
That's right, and then have damage to your tree.
Okay.
So the recommendation is to not put it right up to the base, but leave a little space where you can see the base of the tree.
See the base, and maybe a little ground?
Yeah, avoid piling it up against the trunk of the tree. And really, when you look at the base of a lot of trees, they're beautiful. Is how those bases of large trees, the trunks of them, and and that's a great feature to show off. off too.
Yes, it is. All right, so when you're applying mulch, don't go right up to the tree. Leave a little space there so the tree can breathe and doesn't choke.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
What about shrubs and plants?
Shrubs and plants, a lot of times with mulch, usually you're looking at about 2 to 3 inches of mulch, you know, as far as deep, how deep you put it. And it's going to help control weeds. So you can put it up against the shrub. Just again, you don't want it right up against the trunk of the plant.
Okay.
Some of your perennials, if you're mulching early, the perennials may not have come up yet. So you may want to leave a little space so they can break through that mulch easy. But most of them come through the mulch pretty easily.
Most of them come through easily, so you don't have to worry about that.
Usually
Is that right?
don't have to worry about that too much.
Well, that's good.
And but otherwise, you know, that layer of mulch should help control weeds and reduce the amount of weeding that you have to do. But it also conserves moisture during dry spells in the summer, so it helps the plants hold on to some moisture.
Okay. All right. Very good. Jessica, we're now in a different part of the Veterans Memorial Park here at the corner of William and Walnut Street, across from the courthouse. And you wanted to explain to us perhaps the look of color.
Yes.
How do you select colors, and what do you know looks good?
Well, a lot of times people don't think about when they add plants to the landscape that you can use color, not just with flowers. A lot of people focus on the flowers as far as adding color, but you can look at the leaves, look at the texture of the leaves to provide some contrast in the landscape. Here we've got a great example where you have something with purple foliage and you've got some green around it. So that way you have some contrast there. And, you know, that's not focusing on flowers, that's focusing on leaves instead. And I believe the purple, it's Loropetalum. And it's used a lot in the landscape, but it has that purple foliage that's really attractive and can provide good contrast.
Okay, the purple.
Yes.
I like the purple. It usually goes with just about anything,
It
doesn't
does,
it? Especially a green plant. Now this is a variegated or multicolor. I see different colors of leaves
This
here.
is a Nandina. And with Nandina, you get a lot of features throughout the season. It's going to have some small white flowers here soon. The leaves have a little bit of a reddish tint to them. And then in the fall, they really have a nice red color. And then you get berries then later in the winter. So they provide, it's a good one to provide features all through the year. And you can see too, you know, just the foliage differences. We got something with larger leaves, something with smaller leaves. You got an ornamental grass that's starting to come up, and all those can provide, the texture of those leaves provide different effects in the landscape.
Okay. This is hydrangea.
Yes.
And it will, I don't know what color it is. It may be white, it may be pink, it may be blue.
Yes.
But it's going to start blooming here, and will it bloom after these white flowers come out? Is that important?
It can be important if you're looking at having something blooming in the landscape all the time, that you want to look at the timing. So right now we have some roses that are blooming, and then you might probably have this Nandina next, and then the hydrangea will come in. So you've got some overlap, but you have something that's blooming,
something all the time,
showing some interest.
All right, now let's look at these roses over here.
Yes.
All right, these roses. This is a blooming plant.
It is, yeah, and they're doing really well, and they're blooming and loaded with more flower buds. So, you know, it provides great color, adds a pop of color to the landscape, and especially you still got that purple, you know, contrasting with it some. And, you know, in some of the plants we see here, whenever we talk about maybe landscape design and so forth, this is a good example of not just putting out one plant. And a lot of people do that, and everybody's been guilty of it at some point in time. You go to somewheres and you see a plant blooming and you want to buy it, and you buy just one and you put it out. And I always say it's like sprinkling plants in the landscape. You just sprinkle them here and there, and you can really add more interest by having them in groups. You know, usually here, even like with when you're decorating as far as interior design and such, getting odd numbers, 3s or 5s, that has an effect. So you can see here they have, you know, several plants.
Right, that's 4 or 5, probably 5.
Looks like it might be 5.
Okay, an odd number's good.
Yeah, usually you hear odd number.
3, 5, 7.
But, you know, it doesn't have to be an odd number, but having more than one adds a bigger effect to the landscape.
Now, there's only one hydrangea because it's such a large plant.
Yeah, and it's a focal point. Sometimes you do in the landscape have one special plant that's a focal point, and you might have it in the center or in a corner where people's going to see that year round. Some people use Japanese maples or some kind of weeping tree or even crepe myrtles as a focal point.
All right, now we have a good specimen of a crepe myrtle here. In fact, there's several around the park here. Crepe myrtle is one of my favorites. I think it's one of everyone's favorites because it comes in multiple colors.
That's right.
It blooms beautifully.
Yes.
And it's easy to care for.
It is, and and it blooms in the summer, and we tend to have a lot of things blooming in the spring, and then things kind of slow down a little bit in the summer. And this during your hot, dry summers, you're still getting flowers with crepe myrtle, so they're a great addition to landscapes. I love these because they're pruned properly. A lot of times.
All right, now wait a minute.
Yes.
You mean somebody didn't come in and just didn't just cut it off?
They're not topped or whacked off at the all the stems or trunks whacked down pretty low. Usually we call it crepe murder as a joke, that you're really harming the tree. And this is a great example of what crepe myrtles look like when they're pruned properly.
This is the way it's supposed to look,
Yes, they've selected 3 to 5 main trunks, and you can see how the bark of crepe myrtles is really showy.
Oh, yeah.
You have different kind of shades of bark. We've got some on down that's more of a cinnamon looking color.
Beautiful texture.
Yes, and then they've kept the little branches cleaned up, but took care of these main trunks going up, and so they've actually done what you would call selective pruning. They've selected what branches to take instead of just haphazardly cutting a bunch of them off.
And they leave it so that when it grows out at the top, they leave it. They don't prune the way up top.
That's right.
That's already been pruned when it was way down here.
Yes.
So it's growing out quite well.
So so they're looking really nice and providing some great shade.
And all of these have 5 trunks.
Yes, there's been 5 trunks left on
all of them. And that's a good number.
Yes, anywhere from 3 to 5. Some people prefer 3, others like to leave a few more.
You buy these in a nursery?
Yes.
Can you grow them from seed? Because they put out seeds.
Sometimes you do see some seedlings that come up. Can't always guarantee they're true to type.
You mean volunteers?
Volunteers that come up. Don't always know if they might be true to type as far as still the same type of plant. They might kind of reinvert back to to what the original plant was, if because there's so many varieties and types that a lot of them have been bred and developed for either for the flower color, the size. You can get smaller ones and larger ones, so there's variation in the size and so forth too. Something else with crepe myrtles, if you're shopping around for them, is look for some powdery mildew resistance.
Oh yeah.
There's some varieties that are more resistant to powdery mildew, and that's probably one of the problems we see the most with crepe myrtles is powdery mildew. And you'll have on the leaves a little bit, it looks like somebody sprinkled baby powder on it, a little film of powder. So you
even see that when they're in the nursery and they're real young?
Yes, you could.
You can still see it.
Yeah, because sometimes with crepe myrtles you get what we call water sprouts, the little sprouts coming up, and sometimes those show powdery mildew first because they're a younger, tender growth. And if you do have it though, it is fairly easy to control. One of the ways to control it is when you prune, make sure you've got good air circulation, because that air movement is going to dry your leaves, and if you can keep water off the leaves, then that's going to reduce powdery mildew.
All right, good air circulation around the house.
Yes.
Do they take a lot of sun?
Yes, you do need sun for crepe myrtles. Sometimes we see the ones that are in shade tend to get powdery mildew a little bit more. And it's back to those leaves not
good drainage.
drying.
Good drainage.
Good drainage too.
Good sandy soil is good for.
That's right.
All right, very good. Okay, well we've talked about several things today. We've talked about care and feeding of and shaping of your lawn design. We've talked about mulch. We've talked about shrubbery. We've talked about focal points, and these make good focal points, do they not?
Yes, they do. They really do, because that's really showy with the
It is very showy. Color, we've talked about color and roses and nandinas and all this other stuff.
Right.
So you can't do it all in one day. Take your time. And
But enjoy it, though.
That's exactly
have
right.
fun with it.
All right,
Yes.
we've been talking. And by the way, we want to get your phone number here. Your office is in the Cooperative Extension Service building at the corner of George and Chestnut Streets near downtown Goldsboro. Jessica Strickland is the Wayne County Horticulture Agent, and your number is?
The office number is 919-731-14. Or sorry, I'm getting ready to get Master Gardener Plant Clinic. Wrong number. 1520-1520. But we also have our Master Gardener volunteers that have a plant clinic on Mondays and Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And their number is 919-731-1433.
All right, let's talk about the clinic just a second here. Now, when you say Master Gardener's Clinic, a plant clinic, what does that mean? What do they do?
We have trained volunteers. They've been through a lot of training. They help us with answering questions. This is our busy time. We get a lot of questions, and me by myself can't handle all of them, so they help us with getting answers to those questions quicker. And they're available on the Monday and Wednesday from 10 to 1, and there's volunteers there that you can call, you can email, you can stop by with samples or stop by to pick up soil samples and talk to them to get information.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
And they know their stuff.
They do, and they all specialize in different things, but they all, they're all gardeners too. So they can relate very well to people when they have questions and concerns and want to know what's happening with their plants, and really do a great job of providing advice.
I'll tell you something. If you want to make a master gardener get a chuckle, tell your master gardener that you planted some bulbs or you planted some plants and 2 of them died. Look, everybody has plants that die. Everybody.
Everybody
Don't
does.
worry about it.
Even the horticulture
Even
agent.
even the horticulture agent here. Yeah. All right, horticulture agent, thank you so much.
Yes, thank
All
you.
right. We're back on Wayne Goldsboro Television. Thank you for being with us.
That's right. We've got a weekend full of exciting events happening right here in Goldsboro and Wayne County. Friday night, don't forget Relay for Life. Saturday and Sunday, Wings Over Wayne Air Show and Open House. I believe you've got the schedule.
Let's look over the schedule very quickly. Gates open at 8 o'clock. There's some demonstrations at 9 and at 10. At 10 o'clock, the Black Daggers, U.S. Army Black Daggers, jump out of that airplane at 12,500 feet.
That's exactly right.
You know, that's over 2 miles. 12,500 feet. At 10:45, Precision Exotics, the planes, aerobatics, acrobatics are flying, including Jackie B. Tora at 10:45.
Let me tell you what Tora is right
Tell me
quick.
about I know what it is.
It is
amazing.
a recreation of the December 7th, 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor. It's accomplished through hundreds of dedicated volunteers, most belonging to the commemorative Air Force, working as ground crew, maintenance pilots, and experts. The purpose is to create a dynamic history lesson about the event that propelled us into World War II and to entertain you. Tora, performing at Wings Over Wayne.
Now if you have not seen Tora, you may think you have seen something similar. You have not. I promise you will be amazed at Tora. Take my word. Also on Saturday and Sunday, 1:30, they've got the arms demonstration, 11:30 and 1:30. And Jack Knutson will be flying at 1:30 as well. At 12:30, it's Magic Man Siegel flying, Matt Youngkin's air shows flying, Greg Susie and his biplane, the Indy Boys jet bus.
My goodness.
Will zoom down the runway. I mean zoom down the runway. The P-51 Quicksilver, one of my favorite planes, and then also in the 12:30 time frame, U.S. Air Force Thunderbird.
Yes, let me tell you about them.
Tell me about the Thunderbird.
The flying F-16 Fighting Falcon. The Thunderbird's mission is to enhance Air Force recruiting efforts. The Thunderbirds represent nearly 700,000 active duty Air Force Reserve, Air National Guard, and civilian airmen across the United States and deployed around the world. It's elected leadership and foreign nations. The Thunderbird's aerial demonstration includes approximately 40 maneuvers featuring formation flying and solo routines. This group is known all around the world. They are phenomenal. If you have never seen the Thunderbirds, you are missing out. It is fantastic.
Correction. 2 o'clock. The Thunderbirds fly
2
at 2
o'clock.
o'clock on Saturday and 2 o'clock on Sunday, okay?
Perfect.
And then at 3 o'clock, there's an autograph session where you can actually talk to and meet the Thunderbird pilots,
Wow.
their crews, and it's just that is a lot of fun too. You get to meet and talk to these guys.
That's right.
And let me tell you something. These are some of the nicest young people you have ever met in your life. I mean, down to earth, nice.
Yeah.
They love talking to their fans. They love just talking to people. And because you never know, these are American heroes.
That's exactly right. You know, and not only will you get to meet all of these particular pilots, you're also going to meet pilots of our very own F-15E.
Yeah.
You're going to meet them. They're going to be standing by their planes. You can ask them any questions you want. You can touch the plane. You can find out details about why they do what they do, how fast the planes go. Any kind of questions you may have, these very own pilots are going to be standing beside their plane, ready and willing to talk to you.
And I'll tell you, Cuffs Ladd was in here, Lieutenant Colonel
That's right.
Cuffs Ladd was in here and telling us about some of the things you're going to see out there. There's some There's some old planes,
That's right.
which are my favorites, and some new planes, which are just do unbelievable things.
That's for sure.
You ever seen a jet plane fly backwards?
No, I have not.
I'm not saying any more. I'm not saying any more. Anyway, you know, I don't think I have either. But never mind. Anyway, the gates will be closing at 6:30. You'll have plenty of time to get in and out just as long as you follow the directions of those leading the traffic
That's right.
around the base there.
There'll be food and beverage also available on the base.
More than you could possibly handle.
That's right. Plan on it. Mark your calendar,
Right.
Saturday or Sunday or both.
Admission is free.
Don't cost you a thing.
Doesn't cost you a thing to walk in. You
That's
just
right.
park, take the whole family, take your lawn chairs, and on the flight line it gets a little cool sometimes, so you may want to take a jacket with you.
Yeah.
Maybe an
It's
umbrella.
exciting. We have
to
not
keep the
had an
sun
air
off.
show since 2011.
That's right.
All this is happening right here in Wayne County at your very own Seymour Johnson Air Force Base this weekend. Mark your calendars.
All
You
right.
want to attend.
And we'll tell you more about it through the rest of the week. All right, that's it for Tuesday.
That's right.
So join us again tomorrow for
More.
Wednesday and more. More, especially more. And Wednesday, we'll be right here tomorrow at this time. Hope you're able to join us at this time. Until then, for Wayne Goldsboro Television, I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kim Best, and this is what's happening in your community.